Hi, everybody. I am Jason with Defend, here again with Faye. It's been a while since we've done a live stream, Faye.
Yeah.
Um, Today we have a fairly actually I don't want to
Prepare me in any way.
yeah, I want you to be completely unprepared. And
Right.
it's a very serious topic. Um,
Mm.
and I think I want to go back a little bit and prepare you. Faye, we have a podcast. It's an animated series. And one of the episodes in this last season, which we started like 2 years ago, we started writing it and then we had to animate it. There was an one episode of the 8 episodes deals with this same subject, which is creep catching groups. And we've already discussed these kinds of issues before on live streams, but nothing like this. And I mean, I'm going to kind of relate this back to the podcast episode in a couple minutes, but I want you to listen first of all to the king of creep catching, Chris Hansen. And we both know, I mean, I think I know why he does this. I mean, it's his brand, but I don't think I've ever heard him say what his motivation was. And that's one of the things that I want to kind of get across. And in this one episode of his series, which is now called True Blue, he goes around catching predators online. And it's this one here. You can see my screen.
Yeah.
So in this episode, he's confronting this person. He's confronting this person, and he basically will get into. This is the first time I've seen a lot of his videos. And this is the first time I've ever seen him speak about what could be sort of a motivation.
Talking all day,
Yeah.
and we were gonna have sex, and then she got pulled and is working with the boss now. So that's probably what also helped me lead to this stupid decision. Was it was already on my mind, and then
So how old is the girl who worked at the trailer?
oh, she's like 40.
40.
Yeah,
So
she's
you're all jazzed up about
Yeah.
maybe having sex with this 40-year-old, and when that deal didn't
go
go
through,
down,
yeah, and then I'm
so you
just
figured,
still
well, I'll just go have sex with a 15-year-old then.
well, not. I mean, yeah, you're putting it that way, it makes it sound bad, but
Well, it is bad.
I was
That's why it
just
sounds
looking
bad,
for-
because it is bad,
Yeah, I know.
Chris.
I know. I'm going to jail, aren't I? Mm-hmm. I am? Mm-hmm. Fuck.
The reality of the situation seems to have set in, and Christopher really starts to open up to me.
It's a serious business, huh?
No, I completely agree with you. It is.
Right? It's not playtime. It's not just TV. This is protecting children.
I got rent due. I got.
Protecting children. I've never heard him say this at all, ever. And the whole thing about the creep catching groups, what they put out there to the world, Faye. And I'm not expecting you to know that. Have you seen outside of your work with Defend? Have you seen these kinds of creep catching groups on YouTube and stuff like that?
I haven't, but I know that that there are these on TikTok as well. It's really massive on TikTok,
Yeah.
and it's quite a problem, not just in terms of what they call pedo hunting, but in terms of any kind of um, investigation into anything. They really impede the police work, the vital police work, and they actually get in the way of justice and can actively um, further harm rather than reduce it.
Yeah, I mean, in Hansen here, he's pretty much always been working with the police. The police are off in the other room, and they're part of the calls or the text messages that are going back and forth. So they're kind of like quote unquote overseeing this.
Gosh, that's totally different in this country. But right, okay. So if the
Yeah.
police are part of it,
But yeah. I'm talking about like what people call vigilantes or even
so the police are supporting vigilantism.
no, what I'm saying is that Hansen's product is what most of these groups kind of model themselves after.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
he's kind of mecca for pedo hunting groups.
Mhm.
So I want you to now look at him in a different clip. And this is a different guy. And pay attention to what they're actually talking about here, about the method in how they're bringing this quote unquote predator to the sting operation.
Mhm.
Assault or anything like that. Like, I'm just a horny guy right now, and I don't understand what's going on here. You guys are filming me. I feel like I'm being violated.
Well, I think the violation was going to take place if we weren't here and there was a 15-year-old girl with whom you would have had sex based upon the conversation you had online.
I asked to smoke weed with her, and she said she had a bong, and she showed me a twat shot, and I had a feeling there might be cops here because it just...
The police were kind of managing this conversation as far as I know, but they're sending what appears to be a child's, he says twat shot. Think about like what they're actually doing to someone when they're sending this kind of content out there.
Well, it wouldn't be admissible in court in this country. That wouldn't
Well,
be.
I don't think I don't think this particular case is going to be something that ever gets prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, because they're
So they're just making
actually,
content out of it.
sorry.
So they're just making content out of it.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe so, because this guy actually attempted to leave when he got there. Like, he didn't say anything, and then he started to leave, and then the cops came out and did their little arrest first of all, and then they put him on this couch here. So they're basically putting him, the police have him handcuffed, and the police put him here on this couch so he could have an interview with Chris
Wow.
Hansen. And as far as I can tell from the beginning part of this, it doesn't appear at all that they gave him any kind of Miranda warning. So you're under arrest, you have the right to remain silent, etc. So that's
Well,
why
and
I think this gets torn apart in court if it ever goes there.
well, and also if the dialogue, because it is illegal to engage sexual talk with a teenager, with a minor.
Oh yeah, there's no disagreeing with that, and I think it's even, it's definitely illegal, and people shouldn't be doing this, obviously, but it's definitely illegal to be communicating with whom you believe, not even
Yeah.
a real one, but like a fake child.
Yeah.
So, it's all about what's in the mind of the person who's committing this offense.
Mm.
And that's not really what I want to kind of debate here. But what I'm saying is that the tactics to get these people here are becoming more and more gruesome as far as how they're bending the law, how they're kind of doing this primarily for show. And I've kind of seen
Well,
this
and
for
also
years.
they're foregoing justice for content, which is the most barbaric thing you can do to that victim. And if they think they're sat there doing good for victims, they're not. By literally creating content out of their evidence, undermines their ability to get justice whatsoever. I would assume. Well, and I know that that's how it works in this country, and that why the police are very, you know, determined on vigilantism does not help reduce child sexual abuse. In fact, it can take resources away from doing that. So it's really frowned upon, and also it sort of negates the evidence they do collect, because it would be called under duress or under what's the word where you're baiting someone type? I can't remember.
This is basically like you're enticing someone, or you're basically putting them in a position that they wouldn't be committing a crime otherwise.
Yeah.
Sort of entrapment.
Yes, something like that. But, obviously that doesn't circumnavigate if these men are having sexual conversations with children and luring and meeting up with them.
Absolutely.
With children, and their intent, no matter what they're going to do, is nefarious if they're trying to meet up with a child after talking sexually online with them. So it really does complicate the issue by reducing the evidence and the justice for those victims by creating this kind of capture content. They're not helping children.
And that is a perfect word, complicate, because it muddies the water for what we see from these pedo hunting groups. And that is what is kind of perpetuating this motion for more content. People see it, they want it more, and then they need to push the boundaries further. And what we did in our episode of Dark Side of the Web, in this episode called Pap Squad, what we did was we showed these pedo hunting type groups, and they are confronting someone, and then they ultimately are now putting him in a position where he's now going to get his ass beat like with a bat. And that's kind of where we saw, 2 years ago when we were writing this, where we saw this momentum of the Chris Hansen type thing, the vigilante type work, the groups on YouTube and social media in general, where we saw this was going. And at that time, we never saw it at all. But here's a clip from Dark Side of the Web.
Delete anything, but can you just turn off the camera?
No, we are here to expose predators, Robert, Peter, whatever you want to call yourself. We are pro-anti-predators, and we are erasing preds like you.
You don't need to threaten me. I'll do whatever you guys want. You want money? I can give you money.
I'm tired of these games, fuckknob. Get your phone out now, or else I'm calling the cops.
You can't film me if I don't give you my permission.
Yo, I think he's a lawyer or some shit.
You a lawyer, Robert P.E.?
I just want to go.
Yeah, you've got a slushie in your car. You said you were going to bring that for the child, right?
That's mine.
Thank you, Samantha, for the donation of $50. You're awesome, right? Just keep it coming, right? Keep it coming. Are we doing good work here?
Please just put away the cameras and we can talk about this.
The cameras for our safety and yours, so you can't say we beat the shit out of your pedophile ass.
Tell us why you are going to meet up with an 11-year-old girl.
Get your phone out now.
I swear, I never.
You have a daughter, so you have a wife too?
Yes, I've been married for 16 years.
Holy fuck, Peter. Married with a 9-year-old.
And then they eventually...
I'm leaving. I shouldn't have come here.
Yeah, I know. This is the best one yet, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. Just keep it coming. Right? Press it, press it, press it.
You came to meet a little girl for sex.
No, I didn't.
Don't ever fucking talk to me like that again.
You fucking pedo.
Bro just got pap smeared.
Now, this is kind of like a lighthearted take on this, obviously, because it's like an animated series, but what we're kind of digging at here is like a very serious subject matter, in that, like, what goes along hand in hand with social media is that there's always going to be somebody that wants to push this further and continue to, you know, create this for their own personal gain, their own personal image, their brand, or just building a following so they can monetize it.
Right. Yeah.
So I had never seen anybody be harmed in one of these videos. I've seen these videos for a long time. And that includes going back to watching Chris Hansen more than 10 years ago, right? And I think you know where I'm going with this, Faye.
I'm not sure.
Take a look at this.
I'm positive.
You sure about that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Then why do we got you singing to a little boy and talking about him fucking you in the butt and coming in your butt and getting you pregnant? Why'd you say that?
I haven't.
Why'd you say that, bro?
I do.
Dude, why the fuck did you say
You
that?
touch me again.
I'm gonna smack the fuck out of you here soon. That's gonna happen. That's a fact. But why the fuck did you say that?
Show me some credentials.
Show you some what?
Credentials.
Credentials?
There's your fucking credentials. You understand?
Is that credential enough?
You're here to meet a 14-year-old boy.
Look here, bro.
John Gillian.
Look here, what? What you gonna do? You're a child predator and you weird as
Get
fuck.
the fuck off of me.
You look like a weird motherfucker walking around here too.
Get the fuck off.
How many?
There are hundreds of these. Same kind of group.
I'm not doing nothing
You better
wrong.
slow down, boy. You better slow your roll. You on speed or something, boy? You got
No.
the lips turning. Boy, I'm about to
No,
smack you in your little bald spot, Bobby. Why are you attracted to little boys?
I'm not.
You wanted to fuck them?
No.
Why'd you say that? That's you right there, dumb fuck.
You were seeing it, not me. I do nothing.
Call him. That's cool. He's gonna go to jail. That boy is trying to fuck a
I
little
did
boy.
not.
He is?
No,
Oh,
I'm
you on the
not.
registered
No, I'm
pedophile
not.
list?
I'm off of it.
Damn, that boy
I've
a
been off
registered
of it for almost-
pedophile. Stealing too, boy?
Get out of here!
Bitch, shut your dumb ass up. Who you yelling at? Huh?
Get out of here!
Who you yelling at? Yeah, step up.
Call the
You
cops.
what?
Tell them
Call
you're
him.
fucking-
Call him. Call him, bitch.
The fucking hell!
You about to fucking go to jail.
That's this.
It gets worse after this. One after another after another.
So you thought about being friends with benefits with me?
No,
You said maybe.
that's not affirmative.
You keep fucking pointing that finger at me, child predator. You don't get your shit rude.
We've reported several of these videos on, and most of these are not found on YouTube, but we've reported most of these videos on. We just had somebody screen recording and like going through on Instagram where these were found, and basically reporting them, and all of them are coming back basically saying there's no violation of our terms of service, and they're staying up online, essentially Instagram supporting this kind of content. So, you know, this is kind of the escalation here of where these kinds of videos have come from. I mean, this is like a full open hand slap. I've seen some where they're punching people multiple times, like pretty vicious stuff. And I think this kind of takes us in a backwards direction here with these kinds of issues. Because most of the comments, most of the people watching these videos, they're so supportive of it. And I think you and I have heard a lot, you know, that there's like only two ways to deal with this kind of issue. There's like being 6 feet under or in life for prison, in prison for life. That's how generally society looks at this kind of issue and how to deal with it. So what are your thoughts? I know I'm kind of speaking a lot, but I mean, your face is kind of speaking a lot.
Oh, can you see my face?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's good.
All I could see was the stuff on the screen. Yeah, with the whole sort of vitriol and that sort of group mentality and the escalation of violence with it, as well as the publishing it and monetizing it and creating a business out of it, whilst being whilst doing actions that are against the law. You're not allowed to go up to someone and harm them. As well as the fact that the comments and the fact that they remain up, even though they're obviously platforming behavior that is against the law. You can't. If you're going to go and do this vigilantism, you cannot lay hands. Otherwise, you're filming your own crime, even if this person has done a crime. And like with one of them, it said that he was on the child sex offenders registry. It's hard for the public to separate their natural disgust reflex to people predating on children. And that begins with the illegal act of speaking over the internet in a sexual way to a child, and then luring or grooming them into meeting up. And even if that isn't a child doing that, that is still against the law. And so people cannot separate their vitriol and their natural disgust reflex to someone, doing something that truly harms a child. It creates that sort of echo chamber where only hate can grow, and there isn't any room for prevention, empathy, or science, as well as rehabilitation and actually researching properly with this cohort of people to create better ways to prevent and support their disorder. But we know that actually paedophilic disorder isn't the main producer of sexual harm against children. Sexual harm against children it's predominantly by other children at this point, but from adults, it's by heterosexual men who are situationally offending, and there is no need for them to be offending if there's the correct support and education and response to this epidemic that we have going on. So yeah, it's a hard one, because I get that people have a natural disgust reflex, but when that gets in the way of prevention and actually starts creating crime or monetizing victims' rights to justice, so instead of them getting justice, these guys are earning money off it, which is like obtuse. It's like it's obnoxious and grotesque for them to do that and create a living out of it. But then also, with a lot of them, I'm sure there are vulnerable people that are getting hooked into something that they wouldn't ever usually do if someone hadn't come to them initiating whatever that they responded to. So even then, they're creating evidence that isn't allowed in court, because it reneges itself on the fact that it was either under duress or in response to a collusion of enticement, entrapment.
Yeah.
So
So
if it's
I
not,
mean, most of these groups will say that they don't do anything. They just put sort of like a sitting duck out there on social media, and that predators will contact them. But I mean, aside from that, you're completely right. The general hope and idea is that we don't go backwards. We need to create support mechanisms. We need to put more money as society into prevention. We put millions, maybe billions of dollars into housing people after they've already offended. and like such a small fraction of that into research and prevention methods. And we need to change that, because the harm that's being done right now, it's not okay to wait till harm has already been done. I mean, that's a given, I think. And I think most people would agree. But I think this kind of contributes to going in the opposite direction. We have our Map to Hope support groups. If you are a minor attracted person who is feeling these kinds of feelings, that thinks that they might be attracted to minors, come, and it's anonymous. Just sit in on some groups. We run groups once a week virtually on Zoom, and it's completely anonymous and completely private. And it's sort of like an AA atmosphere. It's very much, we're wanting to build a peer-to-peer support system for everybody. It doesn't have to be about attraction. You know, you don't have to talk about your attractions. It's not about, you know, trying to fix you. It's trying to give you a place to have regular everyday support. So check it out. Go on our website, HelpUsDefend.com, under the Map to Hope page, and yeah, sign up there if you're feeling like you can benefit from this. Faye, any last words?
No, just maybe if you can start from the empathic point that every paedophile finds out as a child when they hit puberty. That's every single one of them. That's before they've done anything. And it is so hated that they can't even talk to their mum, their friend, no one. Secondary, that the biggest cohort of people that are sexually offending against minors or having what they call harmful sexual behavior is children. And that requires a lot of empathy for us to actually put aside this ticking time bomb rhetoric, to put aside the hate stream, the tidal wave of hate that just keeps coming as the tide comes in, and actually seeing these as children, as people, as minors who are struggling with something that we've sort of handed to them through the overexposure that's going on in our children's lives right now with the internet. So we have to try and find that empathy, because we're not helping survivors, and all of those children deserve help and care and kindness and empathy for the struggles they're going through in a world that they've not been prepared for or educated with, or had sex ed even that really holds the epidemic that's going on now for our children.
Well said. Thank you, Faye. Thank you for watching. And if you're, again, a person who feels like they're attracted or in this ballpark of what we call minor attracted persons, send us a message, go on our website, HelpUsDefend.com, and learn more about our anonymous support group. And we'll see you all next time.